Herb.
And we are live. Hello. Welcome to another episode of our Pendragon campaign. Tonight's topic is loyalty, justice, and magic.
Oh.
So let's see where this goes. If you recall, recently our group of knights have been, with the exception of Jarren, who is simply, I think, visiting. The rest of you were all garrisoned in Terraville after the battles. And after a feast where you learned that several kings outside of Logris came to visit to marry into Duke Gorlois' children, his daughters, you find yourselves in a predicament, in a pickle, as it is. And that pickle being, of course, Merlin left for some reason, and everyone's really angry about it.
Some more than others.
It's more that he took a souvenir, really.
In the gift shop.
The souvenir being, of course, the baby Arthur.
I mean, I didn't see a baby Arthur. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
So-
I just saw a blanket. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just saw a blanket too. Lily, you've got to stop.
All right, why
Yay.
don't we do some introductions? I'm sure this is someone somewhere's first time watching. I'm Bob, the GM. This is a recurring game. We are in our 11th year of not real life. We're in our second year of real life game, and we're in our 11th year of the in-game year stuff. So, which tells me we probably got to move faster. So, we're gonna get through the Great Pendragon campaign, because Arthur's just being born, and we gotta get to his death, which doesn't happen at an early age. It'd be actually pretty funny if that happened. Like he boy king and then King Arthur dies. We just wrap it up there. I'm sorry.
The age
Okay.
of 12, which,
Right? Okay, we're gonna go to Thomas next.
Hello, Thomas is me, and I am Thomas. I'll be playing Sir Edrich of House Winterbourne Stoke. And the recent events have put pressures on Sir Edric's loyalty, already quite contradictory. Now one of them has given, and he is now much less enamored with his former friends. He likes them as much as he likes his peasants, and let me tell you, that's not a lot.
Apparently. What's your score?
10.
10. Yeah. Could be worse. We'll go to
It
Mark
could-
next.
Hi, I'm Mark, and today I'm going to be playing Sir Florence, Lord Florence of Axe now. Recently been upgraded to the rank of Baron, and let's see how long I can keep that title before it's revoked.
Right. And what this game likes to do, just for a note too, is a lot of that the title too would often still refer to you as a knight. So even like, even people with minor holdings oftentimes are like Sir whatever Baron of, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than Baron of, or Baron whatever, knight of whatever.
I imagine only people who call me Lord as those I actually outrank.
Exactly. Yeah.
No.
Very nice, very nice.
All
My turn?
right. Yeah, indeed. Liam, you're up.
Hi, everybody. I'm Liam. I play Sir Perin of Durnford. Shit be whack. I ruined a friendship the last session, so we're looking forward to seeing where that escalates to today. Thank you for joining.
And our reoccurring guest, Zack.
Hello, yes, I'm Zack, and I'm playing Sir Jarren of Newton Manor, who is caught in a sort of crossfire and is in no man's land right now. He's kind of torn between serving what for a long time he believed is the rightful king of Logris, and his fellow friends. Merlin is an asshole, but there's something about a baby, and now he is all sorts of torn especially after losing family in Uther's shenanigans. So we'll see what happens next.
We will. All right. We'll start with an intrigue roll +5.
Intrigue, you spoil me.
Intrigue.
No,
You
my
bastard.
laptop.
No, actually, I'm not bad at this.
Oh, Thomas, Buddy Boy went up all of a sudden. Interesting.
No, you're doing it with the +5.
Oh,
plus
with
five.
+5. Oh, well, in that case, I guess that would be a 8 out of 20 for me then.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't escape
moment.
anyone's ears that baby Arthur was taken and is missing. For those that pass an intrigue, you would be some of the first to hear the rumors that Merlin is the one who is said to have stolen the baby away right from the castle of Tintagel.
What a surprise.
Hmm.
I was about to say, didn't we already know this?
Yeah. Those who also pass intrigue, you're aware that one other particular note. There are currently accusations against not only Merlin, but the Knights of the Sword. Something about them being seen and spotted on the path while they were in pursuit of Merlin.
How
Joy
dare
of
they.
joys.
We should have slaughtered all of them. Then nobody would have seen us.
We should have. Gortrix would have happily died.
Can you imagine just this big,
Yeah,
like,
he probably would have
Knights
joined up.
Yeah. If the game does those things, it's like we'll see where this goes. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Rebel Knights. Let's see what happens. Join the Saxons.
I do like the idea
Outlaw
of-
knights, mercenary.
Yeah, it's just us being sieged by the kingdom of Logris for 20 years.
Yeah.
Hey, man. I'm good with that. That's fine. I'm sure it's
Look,
fine. We're fine. We're fine.
Here's the thing. Blood makes the grass grow.
Right. Okay. So within a week, just around a week from when this happens, while you're back in Terraville, you receive a formal summons to Tintagel.
How formal.
How many armed guards are sent with this formal invitation?
There is a small retinue from the king, though they do not look like they're set to bind you, and it's like a, we expect to depart tomorrow morning kind of thing.
Edrich
leaving-
is prepared.
Oh. Okay. So with that in mind, remember Roderick himself had gone back to Salisbury. I'm gonna say that the four of you, and with those a couple of people passing intrigue, it's probably not. It wouldn't surprise any of you at this point if this was some sort of trial.
Yes. With the successful intrigue roll, would it be possible before the retinue comes with the formal summons for Edrich to speak to the fellow Knights of the Sword?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Perfect. Everyone, you would note Edrich does not look great. His frown has not left his face in about 5 days. And to those of you with keen sight, you would note that the sword at his side is not the sword of cutting wit, gifted to him by Sir Perin, but rather a very standard long sword.
That hurts. That
I'm
stings.
sorry. I'm sorry. But nonetheless, Edrich does gather you in a room that he ensures is safe from prying ears as best he can. And essentially, he says, right, we are all in this together, loath as I am to say it, so we must get our stories straight when we are questioned. What are we going to say?
Well, given that this is my doing in many ways, I suppose I should take the lead in some such responsibility for that. Hmm?
If you will do so, that is acceptable. Do not expect me to agree with any further flagrant lies as such. We've already agreed to a few. That we did not see Merlin, that if we did see Merlin, we did not see a baby. This as much is true. And as for the rest, we can corroborate what we said and did not say to the king's hunting party.
I think there are two courses of action. On one end, we say that we saw Uther Pendragon ride down the road and order us to delay the people who were approaching him. Hence why Florence said, in the name of the king, stop, and why I mentioned seeing Uther Pendragon. Of course, since then we have all come to realize that this was Merlin disguising himself, but regardless, we didn't see him with any sort of child. And of course, we assisted as much as we could in helping his pursuers find him as soon as the ruse was discovered.
Quite so. Beguiled by magical trickery, there was naught we could do, and no reason we would question the king. Now, I am no stranger to deceiving in the name of a greater good. I will be fine. However, this is the last time that such flagrant untruths for such a purpose leaves my tongue.
There is another
Lies.
option. By all means, Florence.
The lies will do us no good. Best we find a story and stick to it, as close to the truth as possible.
Quite so.
There is another option, of course.
Mm.
The three of you condemn me. Say that I led you and that you were all bewitched by Merlin with my assistance. And I take full responsibility for my actions. It would certainly result in my death and most likely the loss of much of what my family has to bear. If I'm lucky, Virgil's loyalty will hold through. But it will guarantee that none of you have to carry any further weight, and no more risk is placed upon you.
You seem very intent on this whole self-sacrifice thing.
No.
Just wondering, have you hit your head a little bit too hard?
It would explain a great deal.
It's less about self-sacrifice, Florence. It's more about not feeling willing to sacrifice all of you. I put you in a very perilous position, and I understand that I did that without warning and without you being able to understand why. I don't think it's fair of me to ask you, in all good faith and conscience, to follow me still, if you feel it is unjust. I'm releasing you
Do
of
not
your loyalty to
pretend.
me, if you so
Do
desire.
not pretend that you were the shepherd and we the sheep. We know why you went for this lie. It is because of your distaste for the king. And we know why we went along with it. Because I held a great deal of affection for you. Used my love for you as a weapon, and indeed as a shield. And no, a sacrifice by yourself will not wipe it clean. So, why bother?
Would
So we
also
will
not do
not
us much
throw
good.
you to the wolves.
Indeed. And it would not do us much good. We'd still be condemned for the very reasons that our minds were turned against us. That itself is its own crime.
So
Exactly.
Admitting to guilt in this case will not serve us either.
I will not deny that what you say is true, Edrich. So be it. Jarren?
I don't believe we need to tell people that we were bewitched. It would make us seem weak, and we are of the best knights in Logris, so we need to not seem weak. It is important to seem strong and be strong. And if we lost you, Sir Perin, we would just be losing another Knight of Salisbury, and that would do us no good either.
My suggestion is thus. By the time we ride upon the scene, Merlin had already passed through. We did not see him. He did not pass us. After all, the pagan can supposedly move through the very veil itself.
If that be true,
You may not know what it is.
if that be
Yeah.
true, why did we tell them to stop in the name of the king? And why did I mention Uther specifically?
I was simply doing it because we were protecting the lands of the king, as is all of Logris.
And indeed, stopping a horsed patrol was part of our duties. Why you said that Uther passed through will require some explanation. Thus, if we did not see Merlin, how could we see Uther? So, we will have to go along with the lie in some fashion. Lily, get off the keyboard. Lily.
She wants to be there.
Sorry about that.
She wants to be there.
She wants to be there.
Why is there
she's
always a
star,
cat in every
darling.
room in this house?
It's so furry.
A
It's
cat
strange.
in every room of this castle.
Edrich, you've gone furry.
It's terrible, I tell you. Terrible.
It's terrible.
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 Terrible. In any case, I am inclined, loath as I am to say it, to agree with Sir Perin in this respect. If only because he has talked us into a corner.
So be it then.
Well, did we see Uther then? It would be the easiest thing to make sense if we are questioned on it.
I believe so. Yes. Though, of course, we all now realize that that was Merlin in disguise. After all, I alone have witnessed him do such things before.
Do you want to mention such a thing? Because I feel like that might paint a target on your back from the king.
No. But Uther will know that that is within Merlin's power, regardless of whether or not I mention that I have seen it or not. It'll sound
Quite
believable
fair
to
point.
him.
The best lies have a gilding of truth. And with that in mind, we will be protected in some respect. I cannot imagine it will be long before, well, we are put on trial. Indeed, if not in name. Thus, we must
And-
be prepared in spirit and in body.
And I'm
I
sure there
will
will be
rest.
consequences.
Right. Consequences indeed.
Either way, I'm sure something will be placed upon us. Whether it is true or whether it is false. I'm sure someone will want something from us in return.
Indeed. They always do. Well, this was what I wanted to speak with you about, and I believe we have come to a conclusion. And yeah, we can maybe end the scene.
Is this one of those things where you guys kind of hear commotion and look out the window and you see the riding entourage towards the castle at this point?
Archers,
Yeah.
loose.
No. Wait, wait.
Fire!
Maybe,
he looks out the
actually.
window and goes, "Ha! Fucking knew it."
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we can. Is there anything anyone wants to do before you start your travel to Tintagel? Do any of you want to let anyone know, send a rider anywhere, entrust anyone with anything of the sort?
Who do we?
Florence
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
will send. Oh, okay. Florence will send a rider and a missive to the Count,
Earl Roderick?
mentioning that. Yeah, Count Roderick. Simply, he would relay whatever it is relayed to him by the people sent to pick them up.
Okay.
Like whether like you're on trial or like you're being sent to Logris
It's
for some reason. He will
summons by the
send.
king. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, yeah, Florence will mention it in a letter to Sir Roderick, in a
Okay.
very much a way of, this is what our king has ordered us to do, just so you're aware.
Gotcha.
Edrich will send much the same to his brother Cynstenian and indeed his bride to be. With it's very plain, of course. There's no mention of the truth as such. Though what might be said at most is concerning Merlin's actions.
Yeah.
Understood.
Jarren might send a missive if he could up to his brother, up to the northeast, I guess, from where we are at.
Mhm.
Basically, he puts this situation off a bit. He just says, busy with more political nonsense. We'll get back to fighting Saxons soon.
Awesome. Okay.
I think Perin has already sent all the letters that he needed to. I think the minute that he met Merlin in the road, like the minute they got back from that, he started putting an effort to make sure affairs were settled just in case. His family got one, Virgil got one, I think Roderick also got one, and Pomponia got one as well.
Oh yeah, Pomponia, right? You gotta factor her into anything. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry, I keep writing letters to your wife. I swear it's not what it used to be. Now it's just treason.
It's just treason. It's fine.
It's just treason. Don't worry about it.
No, nothing to worry about. Everything's fine over here.
I
okay.
feel like the funny thing would be like Florence, like, oh, it's a letter from Edrich. Not from Edrich, from
From
Perin. I can't fucking read. I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
someone will read for you.
I'm 90% sure Edrich hasn't shown an interest in any woman other than Oslaf very recently.
It's fair. You've kind of established that.
While you were having premarital and also marital and extramarital sex, I studied the blade.
All right. Feel that one. I'm just pulling something up here. See if I can make it all fancy like. There we go. All right. So
Hello again, Lily.
en route from
It brings me such
Terraville
joy.
to Tintagel.
She's so rambunctious today.
Yes.
We prepared the getaway boat, right? Just
I knew
off
there
on the
was something I
docks.
forgot to do.
Oh no!
This one night.
Don't talk to me about boats. I don't. Not a fan, personally.
You're gonna
Yeah,
have to
me as
row
well
with
tonight.
all one of your arms.
Me and boats don't mix. However,
Yeah.
if this ends badly, we're swimming to Ireland.
Yeah,
That's fair.
get
We
get
swim
ready.
to the
They like
mainland.
invasions.
Let's swim the channel. I'm sure they'll like us in France.
All right, gang.
Well, last time we were there, we knocked down some castles.
Let's get some awareness
true.
rolls going as you ride into Tintagel.
Let's do it. Critical.
Ooh. Ah, that's such a close fail.
I think this might represent, like, for Perin, you might just be staring ahead in concentration, not really paying attention. Not
I think there's a lot going on in his
Yeah.
brain right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For Jarren, and both Edrich and Florence, I guess, as well. All three of you notice that there's a fair amount of like gossip and rumor mongering the moment you ride in. Everyone's eyes are on you. It's very clear and evident that your suspicions of a trial are almost confirmed the moment you come in. I think for Edrich, his own paranoia about the situation right now might add in him actually hearing some kid with their mom, like some common kid with their mom, and you love those commoners. Is that the mom? Is that the traitor? Is that the traitors?
I think I imagine it as Edrich is riding around, and then like another horse passes in front of him, and you don't see him on his horse anymore, and he just goes in front and says, "Say that fucking word again, I dare you," to this 10-year-old child, and then gets back on his horse.
I'm just reminded of, what would you do if there was a child right in front of you?
If there was a child right in front of you.
Slander.
Did that really happen, Thomas?
Not the supernatural parts. Edric's not that sneaky. He can't disappear as another horse goes in front of him. He can glare daggers at a child.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you have proud ticked?
No, I don't. In fact, I am quite modest. Modest at 14, proud at 6.
Okay. I think it generates a proud. Yeah, proud tick. Could be cruel, but I don't think it's cruel.
Yeah. Is it proud to not want to be known as a traitor to everyone in the world?
Yes.
But yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. Is it proud? Not necessarily. I'm sensing a bit of proud from Edrich in his response to this, which isn't a bad thing. It's interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah. There's pride and holding a high regard for honor are very close things in reality. So, but yes, modest to 14.
I think as that
drop, that's
yeah. I think as that is said, Edrich says, "We may be in trouble."
You think?
Sure, it'll be fine. I mean, Uther's a reasonable man, isn't he? Florence says, not looking back at the others.
No. I think at first sign of this going poorly, throw me under the carriage.
Jarren's looking for a carriage, a bit confused.
Figuratively, Jarren.
Oh, right.
It's a metaphor. Hold on.
I think at which point Florence is just smiling and waving at the commoners as they go by.
He's like, this is a parade for him.
True barren respect. Yeah, exactly. But he just says under his breath, as I said before, throwing you under the carriage would only do us more harm.
Yeah. As Florence smiles and waves, Edrich is just... If there were a rain cloud above his head, it would not surprise anyone. He's just...
All right.
But yes, that's me.
So, as you reach Tintagel proper, you're greeted by... Do you remember Sir Sadnal?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Is he the herald?
Yeah, he's the herald of the king.
Yeah. I remember him because the king is louder than he is.
Yeah.
Guys, please listen to Uther. Please listen to Uther, guys.
Guys.
Hello.
Uther had something to say.
My herald has something to say.
Yeah, Uther's
Love
the best. Yeah.
Well, let's not go crazy, Bob.
He's the worst best? I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah. So Sir Sadnal just says, Knights of the Sword. There will be a trial in a few days on matters of the missing prince and the traitor Merlin.
I see. So you've captured him.
We are still seeking his whereabouts. We've sent men every which way. They have not yet returned. My hope is we'll have him by the fall.
I see. Then who's the trial for?
And why are we not searching for this Merlin? And it's more of like a general we, as in the four supposedly legendary knights that reputation tanking. But
he smiles and says, the king has asked that the four of you remain here for a few days until the trial is ready. He's asked that you remain in your quarters under arrest. And he asked that you lay down your sword arm willingly.
On
some
what
of the
grounds?
Some of the knights kind of, you just, I think for Jarren especially, there's definitely a bit of posturing, right?
Oh yeah, he adjusts himself in the saddle a bit, looking at the knights around him, knowing that never mind. Yeah,
Perin's
stand a chance.
Yeah, Perin's getting indignant. He's gonna try to sell this as much as he can. On what grounds? What are we being accused of?
Several knights suggest that the four of you aided Merlin in his exit from Tintagel.
That's
Several
preposterous.
knights? Who are these knights? Give me their names.
Names
You're
will
joking,
be
right?
provided upon the trial itself.
This is some kind of
Would
humorous joke, right?
Mr.
I'm afraid
Bob,
not, my friends. Yes.
may Perin roll an intrigue to try to sell this to the crowd or whatever knights are nearby as much as possible, that they are shocked and outraged by this. Like, they're not going to throw a dishonorable temper tantrum, but very clearly he's trying to sell, I'm shocked that this is even a thing, you know?
So I think...
What do we roll for innocence?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think it's less... Because intrigue tends to be used more to do the mastermindy, behind the scenes, whispery, one-on-one conversations. You're looking to sell an orate is what you'd be looking to do if you're looking... Like trying to get the crowd involved. You're looking to put on a performance a bit, right? And
all right, I'm gonna roll a passion, please.
Okay, yeah.
Do it.
I'm
So
gonna roll.
Florence would do the same.
I'm gonna roll love of family because I gotta survive this shit. All right, so that's not great. That's a +5 still only, or is that?
There's, out of curiosity, there's no help mechanic in Pendragon, is there?
Assist me, please. Mr. Bob.
What was that? Sorry, I had a spam in my window there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I said there is no help mechanic in Pendragon, is there?
There's compose. What you're trying to do.
I don't know if I.
Yeah, what you're trying to do is put on additional, like you're trying to help sell it as it is.
I have a 3 rate with my passion. That's going to be an 8 total. So yeah, it's any help is helpful.
I think if I do it, I'll have a 9 total all rate. So it's a little bit more.
Yeah,
If I do it, I'll have a 15 total orate. However, Edrich has previously specified that
he's not gonna.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Jarren's would be lower. He can
As
kill
long
a
as I
few of the
don't- as long
people,
as I
and,
don't fumble.
and they'd be
You know,
less to impress.
Hold on, Jarren. Hold up. I like your energy, but you're at an 11. I need you to be at about a 3, okay?
No.
There's 9
not yet,
people that we
Jarren.
need to impress. What if we killed 4 of them and then that lowered the target number? Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try it. As long as I
Yeah.
don't fumble, it's
Add a
probably gonna be
plus- add a
fine.
plus. Mark, what's your deceitful?
I believe my deceitful is 10.
Okay, you just add a +2 to your roll.
Okay. All right. Here we go,
And that
fellas.
represents.
Hell yes.
They got it.
Ah.
Okay, yeah, they're definitely, you sell it well. Like, I imagine you're aiming for shock in that, basically.
Yeah, he just wants to sell. Like he's like Uther's obviously the main person they got to convince, but
Yeah.
the more knights that are in their corner that doubt them, the less effective arguments are going to be against them. So he really wants to just sell the Knights of the Sword being caught very off guard by this in a way that if they were guilty, they would have prepared for this better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I imagine during that, as Perin is like, "How dare you! The very idea, the notion!" Edrich is like, "Would it be considered poor form during the trial and afterward to duel these supposed witnesses?" To Sir Sadinal.
Sir Sadinal smiles. And he probably does exactly what I did there. He doesn't say a thing.
Good.
A trial by combat, always an option.
Very well. We'll cooperate, of course. Our
You're
loyalty is to the king, and we will show as such.
Edrich just has a list of everyone that's wronged him slightly in a lineup for duels, future duels.
Yes. No, he really
There's a big-
does. He
there's a big
start-
scroll.
Yeah. He pretty much scroll that he can't read. He gets someone to write it in for him. He started essentially when he comforted Gorlois at the feast, which is never let people get away with the wrongs they do to you. He was like, "That's a good idea."
You know, it'd be a great great concept for a foppish knight. Like, do basically early Florence, but have him someone in his entourage is his really smart monk that can read for him, or whatever, and he's constantly manipulating the knight to do the good thing,
Indeed.
because otherwise the knight would be awful. That would be a pretty good.
No, he pulls out a random scroll of shopping list and says, "A missive from the king. It says you must save those villagers."
The king said it. Yeah. It's my chance at glory. Yeah. I love it.
But yes, Edrich does surrender his blade.
Okay.
And is this a situation? Does it look like any of the knights around, or Sir Sadinal himself are being somewhat smug about it? I'm thinking of the pride tick.
Sadinal, no, he's here to do a job. I think he. Are there smug knights? Yes. I don't think any of the prominent ones. I'm trying to think.
No Jareth here.
Jareth is not here. No.
Yeah, good.
Came all this way just to see us.
just to be smug, not to do anything.
Yeah,
just
to help his brother out. Just to go.
Exactly like him.
Yeah.
3 of my
Uh,
enemies or
in-
1 of my brothers.
In that case, Edrich does not say the threaty thing. He just surrenders his weapons.
You do notice one familiar face in the crowd.
Oh, yeah, I recognize that guy anywhere.
That face
Yeah,
is
missing, though.
unforgettable.
Got him. I forgot I didn't have an image, but that is it's Briss, who is Sir Briss now.
Yeah, that was my old squire, right?
Yep. Yeah, he's from Tintagel County, so he is here for this.
Oh, buddy, I hope he... Oh, boy.
He's just like, oh yeah, he would totally do it. Yeah.
Perin will also surrender his sword. But again, like big show of like like unsheathing it in a way that the engravings are visible to the crowd,
Mhm.
like a, hey, sword of victory, big deal here, and
Heard of
he'll
us?
offer it up, and he'll say, be mindful with it, please. It's very valuable.
All right. No, just kidding. They
Yeah. Chucks it in the pile.
there is an honor piece to this, right? Like this is all being done in a way with respect that you are knights, and so it's not like they're tackling you.
We're not being dragged in chains.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
invited here.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Jarren, when he gives his over, it is with gritted jaw, and he will want the name of the knight who takes the sword.
Okay.
Just
Let's see.
I'm gonna be talking to your manager if there's
Sir
even
Kevin.
a
One
slight
scratch on
Ooh.
this.
Kevin.
Kevin.
So Kevin is a very hateful man.
Kevin.
He hates holding.
Oh no, he's holding the sword.
He's holding the
He
sword.
hates Tintagel. He's
As soon as
been
he
here
picks
too
it up,
long.
Yeah.
Uh,
As soon as he picks it up, he just throws it to the ground, Andy Samberg style.
Kevin, he says, Sir Kevin.
This is my sword, Sir Kevin. I will need it back soon, after the trial.
He
The
nods.
very pointed look directly into Sir Kevin's face.
Yeah. Understood.
And Florence comes over, hands over his sword, and goes, "Try not to scratch it." And wanders
Attaboy,
off.
Florence. We'll just swarm.
He probably
we'll
just chucks it. Yeah.
we'll just swarm the king
Having
with
to accept
rapidly different emotional states between all of us. That'll confuse him enough that he can't find us guilty.
Yeah. None of these people are being mean enough for me to threaten them.
I love it.
Guys are being too reasonable.
Damn it. Yeah, no one's gonna try and get in a fight with recent fugitives of the king's in king's captivity right now. I don't think so. If you guys are okay with it, I'd like to proceed a bit. Is there anything you'd
do
like
it.
to do after weapons are surrendered?
Nope.
Okay.
Ooh,
Having no
Florence
interest.
spends the next couple of days playing his harp within the room he's been confined to.
Okay.
There's just a melodic music coming from his room.
Pull out second sword. Aha!
You don't want to know where I was keeping that.
Success.
You just keep hearing. I said baby.
Anyway, it's wonderful.
Anyway, here's Hadrian's Wall. Yeah.
Hadrian's Wall.
So likewise, you guys have a bit of obviously downtime where you're not able to do much. Similar to Mark's lead, if you want to test something that doesn't involve a sword, now is a good time, either a trait or a skill.
Can I do stewardship? Like the whole time he's going, Winterbourne Stoke is probably burning down as we speak. All of the horses will need to be fed while the time I'm back.
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. Because it's either that or just exercising until he's tired, sleeping until he wakes up, and then exercising again. Failure on
Oh, no.
stewardship. Not a surprise.
I think Perin would like to, if there are any guards that he could talk to or servants that bring them meals or anything like that. I think he'd like to try to intrigue his way to finding out what exactly, like who accused them specifically and what the vibe is like. How, what are their odds, basically?
Okay.
That is a success.
All right. So you're gonna get like a lowborn's perception of it,
Sure.
and by that I mean probably not someone super educated in the ways of intrigue and all that, but they'll tell you what they heard about the gossip, and they hear that the queen's been in mourning and is stuck between screaming and crying ever since it happened, and
Oh boy.
and they also say they hear that it was Sir Brastius that laid the charge.
Unsurprising, but also that was the one person that I was hoping would not have done that. All right. We're good. We're good. We're good.
To be honest, I feel like it only could have been one person.
Yeah. It had to be, but also I was praying that it was Goratrix.
Could you imagine? I don't notice a lot
That's
of
them.
things, but yeah, what I do
That's the
notice
criminal.
is this.
That one looks really familiar. That's your cousin, isn't it? Oh, hey, Edrich.
Oh, whoops.
Hey! Oh, sorry. About what I said to you, Your Majesty. It was either a joke
Alright.
or I didn't mean it.
I didn't see nothing. Alright.
Nothing. I know nothing. Okay, cool.
And Zack. For the slower trait.
Yeah, I'm gonna test. I feel like his pride should be a bit higher than it is, so I'm gonna test pride because as he's sitting in jail, well, what he believes is pretty much jail, even though it's probably some pampered room.
It's quite.
He feels the injustice crashing down, like how he spent his life training and fighting for the kingdom, and this is how he's being treated over what exactly?
Right.
Because Merlin passed him on the road with a blanket. I mean,
Some toddler.
we didn't even see a baby. There was no baby.
Yeah, we just saw a blanket.
There was no baby, Uther.
There was no baby Uther. All right. Tick proud. All right. I'm gonna give Thomas, because Thomas has been role playing this. It makes sense too. I'm gonna give you. You're gonna have the clerk skill for the first time. So you're actually gonna write clerk, and you're gonna tick it. Everyone else is gonna get it soon, but you're gonna get it first. So to write, read, and do numbers, file records, fill out forms, and so on.
Oh, that would be so helpful.
Delightful.
Yeah.
It would be so nice to be able to do that.
Learning. He's becoming more of a nerd.
We're gonna have to get you an abacus, my friend.
You have had to do that. Like, you've been in stewardship role for a while, so it kind of makes sense,
Yeah.
right? It is considered a knightly skill.
Everyone I invite to be my steward dies or becomes crippled quite quickly. So I need to do it. So the curse affects no one else.
There you go. Okay. 3 days go by, kind of like this, and then finally, all of you are pulled together into a room, into a single meeting room. And give me a recognize roll, as there is a clergyman before you. I should have
the fuck is
specified
this?
plus 5.
All right, I know who this is.
Yes, I would not have gotten it, even so.
Even so. Okay.
Yeah, Jarren would have gotten it with a 5.
Yeah. Everyone got to go ahead and tick recognize if you don't have it. We'll just say that Edrich hasn't had much in the way of opportunity. The family is fairly disconnected from the faith, while given Goratrix was running things for a while.
Gortrix was the most connected, so everybody else just kind of sat aside. Despite being a pagan, he was by far the most popular with the clergy.
Mm-hmm.
Was he British Christian, the bishop?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, then it makes sense Florence would know who he is.
Mm-hmm. No, but Florence passed, didn't he? With the plus 5?
No,
he failed.
He added the plus
Even with
5.
the Okay.
Yeah.
And Elad is here as well. Two of them.
Oh, thank God. I trust one of these people.
I'm sure he's on our side. Kill him!
Well,
For
Kill him!
for those
Sneak
that
it
attack.
starts here.
For those that know Roger, he's known. Bishop Roger is a bit more worldly. Likes to go to London quite often. Pretty good at like talking and shooting the breeze with people, despite being clergy. Probably comes from a noble background himself. Definitely has the size of someone that probably would have been better off on the battlefield than in a monastery. He's like size 17. or
Battle
something.
breeze.
Yeah.
Gee.
Ooh.
Yeah.
As a big boy.
He's as large as my wife.
What an odd system of measurement.
Okay. So Lad is kind of the first to speak, and he says, Knights of the Sword. The Earl sent us together when he heard what happened. We speak in confidence, but might the two of us ask you a bit more, if that is all right?
Of course, sir, lad.
Indeed.
Bishop Roger just says, the Earl has sent me to see about supporting you through the trial. I believe that in proper prayer and faith, we can find a way through this. I also believe that whatever you tell me is the truth. I hear that the beloved prince has gone missing.
Aye.
We heard the very same.
Before accusations are made, can I ask all of you, did you play any part in it?
No.
No,
Course
Of
not.
course not.
not intentionally.
He tilts his head to the side with that one.
You might be able to hear Edric's teeth like grinding.
Mhm.
Perin will look towards Edrich and back to Elad and goes, we were on patrol and we saw something odd, Uther Pendragon coming down the road, and he told us to delay his pursuers, so we took position to do so. When they arrived, they said that they were looking for the traitor Merlin, and what the traitor Merlin had done.
You saw Uther on the road. Him in a retinue, or my understanding of, well, from what rumor has spread, and I have yet to ask the locals as of yet, but from what rumor had spread, Uther was right here in the castle in Tintagel.
Aye, he had no retinue, but that's part of the reason why I did not question it at first. It seemed like his life was in danger, so we took up position and followed orders. It wasn't until later that we realized that it wasn't Uther after all.
He frowns a little bit and then kind of puts on, like, forces a smile. He seems like someone more naturally just smiley in general than
He
anything else.
reminds me of Santa Claus.
Right. Well, that is quite the sight. Have you considered trying to make sense of it? Were you perhaps famished? Were you sick? Is there is there a means in which you saw something that perhaps wasn't there? Just
Merlin is a wizard who uses magic.
We had suspected that to be the case, but perhaps there were other factors at play.
I'll be honest, it seems the only explanation for what was seen.
And you, Sir Edrich, he says, noticing your quietness,
Silence.
and all, yeah, your silence. And can you confirm?
For the past 20 seconds, I've been wondering, Bishop Roger, why you assumed we would be out of our right minds rather than a wizard would cast a spell. I can confirm that this is what has been done.
He nods. You must forgive me, but it's best that we cover all angles to ensure that the best outcome is found. That's all.
Of course.
That is
I
understandable.
understand.
It was hard to believe in the moment, but well, one cannot trust their eyes. What can they trust?
Well, I shall ensure that the four of you are given a good feast before all is done. It's important that you're well fed going in there.
Oh,
I would
I don't like that.
I would recommend that you all spend time in prayer and reflection. It's important to know yourself the best you can before you enter a hostile situation. I would imagine a grieving mother and father are hard to console, let alone the king and queen. But even so, all of you have done many a great deeds for Logris. I'd like to make sure that we remind them of that before any judgment is made.
Perin will kind of look to Ilad and he'll go, speaking frankly, are our odds really that low?
A lad shakes his head.
Hmm.
The king has some sense of justice. We'll just have to appeal to it.
Then I suppose I
would
will
thank
be
you.
praying.
That is such a that is such a great line for someone who hates Uther. But Edric will say, I would thank you, the both of you, for your assistance in this. These are unusual circumstances, and I do feel the reception we receive will be hostile. But we will get through it, by the grace of God or by our own work.
They cannot be blamed for their grief, but we will do what we can to make sure that the true culprit, Merlin, is punished for his crime.
I appreciate you all coming here. This is a waste of time if we are to hunt down Merlin, but if we must.
With that, Sir Roger looks like he's going to say something, or not Sir, Bishop Roger looks like he's going to say something, but he doesn't. He just kind of nods to Jarren and then kind of moves back into things. He says, I'll see what I can find out about the accusations laid. Thus far, I've heard two names, Sir Brastius and Sir Argan. Those
Argan.
names... Yes. The King's Constable.
Right.
Sir Brastius has disliked me ever since I tried to kill him. This comes as no surprise.
Perhaps.
I believe I believe Brastius to be an honorable man. If he's making an accusation on us, it's not because of any courtly play. He truly believes it.
Then we must show him the truth.
How does Jarren feel about that? Does
Jarren does not agree. It's written all over his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sort of
Hmm.
bristles and says, "Isn't this Sir Brastius the one that participated in the ambush and raid on the camp with the Duke Gorlois?"
He is. So your lad confirms.
Honor. I don't see any honor in that.
With that, Bishop Roger says, I will return tomorrow with the food. Let you all know what else I've found. I know that there are other clergy here for this. I do not know who yet. It's best to
I see.
know those with motives, I suppose. Beyond, of course, the king's justice. Well, I hope that you all find good rest, and we'll talk soon. And then, sorry,
Quite,
lad looks to you all. You've all grown up to be fine knights, the lad says.
At this, some measure of the very palpable bloodlust and rage kind of like fades, and Edrich feels happy about that. He's getting praise from someone he looks up to. That's good. And in this moment, he doesn't want to murder someone.
There you go.
For the first time all
That
week.
brief second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the first time this fortnight, he's like, oh, lovely.
He says, we'll have you back on the battlefield soon enough. I'm certain of it.
Thank you, sir, lad.
Well,
Jarren kind of has a small smirk on his face because he's had this talk with Sir Lad before and says, "See what happens when I'm not on the battlefield." He gestures around the room.
Perin kind of laughs and goes, well, maybe don't hurry too much on that front. And he holds up his lost hand that he lost serving Uther.
Right? He looks to Jarren and gives a knowing nod of what that's reference to. Last time of dealing with Merlin. Says, we can make sense of this soon and put this all to bed. Then we can concentrate on what really matters.
Sir Lad, one last thing, if you don't mind. If it's at all possible, and he kind of looks to Edrich and then Jarren and recognizes how dumb this is, and he goes, would you let Sir Brastius know that I'd like to speak with him? He doesn't have to accept. But I figure it's worth trying.
He looks at you a second, raises a brow, and says, oh, as your marshal, I must warn you against such an action.
I trust your judgment, Sir Lad.
He nods. With that, he's going to walk out. And the four of you are left together for a short bit before you're going to be returned, to your respective quarters. It's a very informal, more of a house arrest
Yeah,
style thing.
preparation. Yeah.
Mm.
Were I but a few moments faster, or so Owain a few moments slower, we would not have this problem.
Oh, yes, because the murder of another knight would definitely stop the claims against us.
I
There
understand.
would not be a man to make a claim,
I
and it would have been
understand.
justified in the field of battle.
I
There would be
understand.
another in his place.
I understand Jarren's animosity, Edrich, but where is this coming from you? There were hundreds of knights on that field on both sides. Why do you hone in so specifically on Brassius?
Hundreds of knights on both sides, and not a one of them killed my sire, Sir Merrick. For the same reason he does not like Sir Brastius, I do not like him either.
Of course.
And when he looked in my eyes and saw death, I am near certain he and the Lady Violet hold some manner of wariness. I
How
would
ma-
not be surprised were this even, well, he saw nothing. His
I see.
words as much showed this. This is a petty power play.
How many of Oslef's friends and family have you killed, Edrich?
I'm sure many.
Perhaps it's never as simple as that.
It would be different if it was a battle of honor on the field, face to face. But as I have heard, this was an ambush, a night raid.
I have no defense for that. None that's worth saying.
Then perhaps the subject had best be dropped. I find myself becoming tired. I will retire to my cell.
Florence sips on his drink and I'm like, oh god. Christ. I think actually, in fact, as Edrich leaves, if Jarren follows up, I don't know what you're planning.
Jarren was going to say one last thing. Sir Perin, you said you were going to do something to prevent me from challenging Sir Brastius to a duel.
Well, that original plan has been a little delayed by the fact that we are imprisoned on his word. So, as much as I would like to find a way to settle your honor without killing the man, I'm not sure I'm in a position to manipulate any circumstances at the moment, so whatever happens, happens. That being said, Jarren, I do think he's a good man. Whatever stock you have in my word, I hope you at least understand that. I mean it when I say it.
I know your word is worth its weight, but I prefer action. If this Brastius is a good man, then he must prove it, or else his days are numbered.
I don't doubt that. We should all get some rest, I feel.
Sir Perin, if you might stay for a moment. There's something I would like to talk to you about. If it would not be too much of an issue, Sir Jarren.
Sir Jarren just gives a stiff nod. He was already about to heel turn away from this, so he walks away.
With that, as they're sitting there, Florence is just quietly picking through some of the food on the table, picking up a piece of meat, and he goes, "You know you're far too harsh on them."
I know. I just... So much has gone so wrong so quickly. It's very hard to imagine a... It's very hard to imagine a world after this. I've grown quite tired of watching good men die, Florence. And I'm sorry, I have faith in both of their skills as swordsmen and as knights, but I'd rather not see another friend dead.
I understand that. I do. Sadly, it is the way of war. Of life. Good men don't live forever. Good men are often the first to die. It's a tragedy, but it is reality. But also understand this. The more you push our friends, the more you needle them with your ideas and thoughts upon the morality of the situation, the more you will push them away. There is no peace on the path you walk either. Edrich is a good man and a good friend, but even he has his limits, as all men do. You have to understand that this situation, there are two outcomes. We come out of it dead, or they do. The lines have been drawn. The gauntlet has been thrown. You and I both know this only ends one way.
Yes.
And if I am to be honest, if you feel guilt for this situation, you should. But you also should not throw your life away, thinking you are trying to make the situation better. Martyrdom is often decided after the fact of death for a reason. There's no such thing as a living martyr. A living martyr is an idiot. Don't be an idiot, my friend. Survive and live, and pay us back for mistakes of the past by attempting to forge better futures.
You always find a way to surprise me, Florence. Thank you.
I'm a surprising man.
That is definitely true. I'll think on your wisdom.
Please do. I shall pray for you. See you in the morning.
Okay. The next day, which is the day before the trial's said to be done, you are, as promised, provided a feast, starting with ale and cheese, quiche.
Give us alcohol.
Hell yeah.
Yes, smart
Yes!
idea.
Let's get drunk!
Oh, quiche sounds so good right now, my dude.
Artichoke stuffed with blueberry rice and mushroom tarts. I don't know about the last one. I'll try the other two. Sure.
Mushroom tarts, I could see that work. The blueberry rice is kind of fucking me up a little bit.
Yeah. Is that like blueberry mixed in with rice, or is it just like cauliflower rice is, just like shredded or
Yeah.
squelched rice?
This is England's in the 500s rice too, which I can't imagine is very good. I don't know.
I can't imagine it's rice, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe it's not
I
rice.
can't believe it's not rice.
It's processed. Yeah, they're way ahead of time. All right. So with this returns Bishop Roger. So Roger comes in and says, "Well, I said I was going to come back. I said I was going to provide you with what I know. So I will tell you that the Archbishop Dubricus is here, treating with the king. He will likely have some opinions on the situation. Mark, I think that name rings out to you, especially being I think you're the only Roman Christian in the group. He is Archbishop of the island. And he is very old.
Oh.
He anointed Uther.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
And Aurelius and their the late
Dubricus.
Constantine. He's stationed in Wales, is where he's from. Bishop Roger also says, and Saint Iltud as well.
Did
Holy hell!
A saint.
did
A living saint.
did Archbishop Dubricus have to compete against Archbishop Subricus for who was
Right.
gonna get the efficient?
The best thing is that Saint Iltud is an actual historical Catholic saint or whatever. So
Hey, what a guy!
I had to
There
look
are
that
no
up.
martyrs who are still alive. That man's a fool.
Saint, not a martyr. It's a different thing.
Yeah. Martyrdom's
Often
one way
there
to
is
become one,
crossover.
though. Yeah.
That is true.
It's a good way
Not all
to.
saints are martyrs, but most martyrs are saints.
Yeah. So with that, he says, I don't quite know the two of them by name. Only, of course. I don't know what they'll be here to represent, though I did understand that the Archbishop was seen doting upon the Queen and her misery and grief.
Does he seem to have an opinion?
I would suspect that he will be suspicious of your lot, would be my thought.
I thought as much.
As for Saint Iltud, he comes from a distant relation to Uther himself. So who's to say? The line of
Interesting.
Uther
Ideally.
was favorable of Merlin before recent times.
I
Perhaps
suspect that's
indeed it still
changed.
is.
Hmm.
Lastly, Father Dewey's present. I don't quite know much about him, other than they call him the Waterman.
Do we know anything about this man?
You can test one of three things: religion, religion flat, intrigue -10, or recognize flat.
rolls
Oh, you know I'm gonna
recognize.
do intrigue -10.
Nope.
Oops, sorry.
Hey, the sword of victory's back at it.
He's a person with a
Success.
face.
There you go. You've heard of him, Edrich, only slightly. You remember here? Oh, the Waterman. You remember? He earned that name by being involved in some of the more recent monasteries that were being built. And specifically, the monasteries come with the feature of we don't make our own alcohol here.
Yes. I remember funding half of those churches somehow.
Yes, you got your thank.
Yeah, they're really
thank
taking the
notices.
fun out of
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So these are monasteries that were built without
Oh, I
brewery of
see.
any
I
sort.
see a little Malcolm. I see a little Malcolm running out of Liam's room. Sorry about that.
Well,
That's all good. All right.
But yes, thank you.
So with that, Roger says, "I'll be prepared then. I imagined that. I imagine that the proceedings tomorrow, the king will call upon Sir Brastius first to speak. And if it is true that he is the man of honor they say he is, then he will speak only to which he claims to have seen. If I understand correctly, he did not see a King Uther riding about, but he did see the four of you. I'm going to look to the four of you before we issue an answer. After Brassus has spoke, I'll look to the four of you. I'll need a nod. If all four of you nod, then we can simply say that Brassus' word is true. If I do not see a nod from one of you or more, we will need to find... we'll need to lodge a counter to what is said. And we will need a quick council to do so.
Indeed so.
I think we better get that council ready.
What if we believe that he is speaking true, but that our account is still different?
I believe there will be time for that. After all, if what he speaks is true, and it does not stretch into the realm of imaginary, then what he says won't condemn you of anything other than being on a horse and encountering them and speaking to the sightings that you have mentioned.
Very well. Thank you.
It will look good upon you to not refute every minor thing, so long as such a minor thing is trivial. If it condemns you in any way, that is another story.
A raindrop can become a hurricane. But you are right. The minor details will not condemn us.
Very well. I will leave you to the rest of your feast, and we will see what tomorrow brings.
Gotta get me some Ace Attorney
Did-
ready for the next scene.
Yeah.
Ace Attorney music.
Do they allow us to use knives at the table for bread and meat?
Oh, Jarren, please.
No, I think that's the one thing they don't give you is any sort of access to weapons. So
In fairness, we're not eating anything that might require a knife. Like,
Oh, this quiche
most
needs a knife.
this quiche needs a knife. We need preferably a sword.
Excuse me, waiter. Could I
Failing
get a
that,
knife?
spear.
What, for the ice cream?
I prefer to eat all of my meals knife only.
Skill issue.
all right.
But yes. Edrich is perfectly happy to quietly eat his artichoke stuffed with blueberry rice. This stuff is delightful. But yes.
All right.
I have a request, Bob.
Yes.
May we take a short break before it begins so that I may go to the bathroom?
You may. Actually, I'm going to be taking a break in a minute. I was going to do one more scene as we move to the feast day.
Roger that. Let's do that, and then we can...
Right. So, I mean, you're welcome to go as you need to be, because this will be a solo with Liam real quick, and then we'll be taking a break as a group real quick. So
I'll be listening. I'll be listening in.
Sounds
See you
good.
guys in a bit.
Liam, test spiritual for me, first and foremost.
Oh, joy.
Perin.
Versus worldly. Am I muted? I am not.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Meow.
Okay.
Not great.
No, it's okay. You find yourself stirring at night, and you kind of roll over, and you can't help but feel like the cold of like the night wind on your face, and the chirping of crickets.
Bronwyn, you left the door open.
You hear awareness test, actually.
Yeah, let's-
Yeah.
That's a success.
You hear the sound of a baby cooing just out of range. Not too close. Just off in the distance a bit.
I think there's a moment where that's normal for him. And then he remembers, like, just in that twilight of being awake and asleep, he remembers that he's not at home. And he's up with a start. Is there anybody in the room?
You are not in your room. You see yourself. You are back home in Salisbury, standing before the giant's dance. You see a robed figure, an old man, someone that you quickly recognize as Merlin. And in front of him is that blanket that you saw with a baby before it, or on top of it, rather. The baby sort of coos and it doesn't fuss or fight, just kind of acts happy, sort of joyful sounds. And Merlin doesn't address you, he just stands there.
Merlin. I wasn't expecting you to keep your word. Or, I guess, my demand of you.
I'm sure you've heard, they're on my tail. This is the best I can do for now.
I appreciate it nonetheless. Though, I'm sure you've heard, we're to be put to trial for assisting you.
I feared that might be the case.
I don't think that's true. But I also think that... I understand what's at stake. If I have to die for it, so be it. I needed to ask you.
He says, kind of almost like half there, half not.
You put so much faith in Uther for so long. And you were wrong. How do you know that it's not going to happen again?
The future comes in different views. Some clear, some riddled. The line of Uther will hold true. Its promise will hold true. At first I thought through Uther himself. But no. It will need to come through his second son.
Not Madoc.
He frowns.
I see.
Decisions are made, were made. And consequences oft catch up with one.
That night, he traded his sons, didn't he? Or at least one of them.
Uther is not the man of justice I thought he was. He is too weak, too riddled by his lust, and it will undo him.
If I survive this, how do I kill him?
give me
Stab with sword.
That's your way. I got a missing hand. I gotta work out something else.
Well, you see, as the world's foremost wizard and druid, I suggest
yeah.
removing all of the blood from his body through repeated application of a sharp object.
Here are the top 10
You know,
ways.
poison
Now,
is
before I
a-
do that, let me tell you about yeah.
Tell you about
you-
Squarespace.
yeah. Give me one more. Give me a. What do you think drives this? What drives Perin's desire to kill Uther?
Well, I think there are three different things at play, but one of them is far higher than the rest, and also that is a culmination of, I think, the other two things. Um, Perin has a 16 just, which has been largely in play for his distaste of Uther. He also has a more Ygraine, which is not a high passion, but that also affected, the situation as well. Um, and both of those two things combined together, along with certain events, have given him a 22 suspicious Uther. So I think it's in large part the most obvious choice would be suspicious Uther. Uther is his drive.
Hmm. What would you say? So typically, being suspicious of someone wouldn't drive you to assassinate them. So, what do you think the key driver of the assassination would be?
Hatred mostly.
Yeah,
he,
okay,
he wouldn't let me
perfect.
take hatred. So
Tick hatred.
tick hatred. I don't think I
Yeah.
have a hatred stat.
You should. It's either
Well, he,
vengeful, probably would be
I
most
think,
appropriate.
probably
Vengeful sounds right. Vengeful sounds good to me. I'll tick vengeful.
be vengeful or cruel.
I think in this
I'm
case,
fine with.
vengeful sounds
I'm
more appropriate than cruel because cruel would be like I almost gave Thomas a tick for cruel with the boy, right? Like that
Yeah.
idea, like you know what I mean?
I think either one would work because currently he's got a 13 in both of those. So
I
Yeah.
will say that vengeful makes more sense than cruel as well, because
Yeah.
you're not going, oh, Uther, I'm gonna hurt you just because it's fun. It's Uther, you have wronged me, you've wronged this
would,
country,
though.
you're going down.
Yeah, you're
I
going to
would. I would
pay a
hurt.
consequence for it.
If I can make it a painful poison, I would like to make it a painful poison.
All of the above.
Yeah. Okay. Um.
Or I can just shoot him with a crossbow or something too, I guess, actually. I mean, there's other ways of approaching it. I'm just thinking about
you
what
ask
works
that
best.
question, you hear all of a sudden like the sound of many screams, and you see a wine glass topple to the ground, a goblet, and blood like wine spilling out of it, and then you wake to the sound of bells. It's the
I think
morning
he's...
and
Yeah.
time of the trial.
Perrin is sweating profusely, and immediately he clutches at his missing hand, and it's just gone.
All right, we're gonna take our one break for the night and then come back and do the trial and wrap her up. So let us see where
Roger
things
that.
go. Yeah. Okay. Be right back.
character, and it's the next best thing.
Right. Sure. Your comfort sword.
That is
Yeah.
such a nice sword.
Support sword.
Yes.
Helps you
Support
with
My
the
sword.
anxious
my
times.
sister bought it. It's like one of the little Narsil replicas, and it's
Oh, nice.
so
Yeah.
sweet.
Mine
Very cool.
is fine. It is black and it's got that leather
Oh,
grip, and I like that a lot.
lovely.
But the hide
Oh,
grip,
it's so nice.
It's
Very nice.
it's amateur made, so it's not proper, but it is nice. It's the only one that I have besides my riding sword, which
If
Mark,
it's
I'll show you.
amateur
Nice.
made, it's more likely to be
Oh,
sharp.
very nice.
I'd like to see that as well.
My
I've got a lot of bokken, and I have one rattan stick wrapped in duct tape, which I actually use for SCA stuff.
Mm.
But this is just replica stuff. It could cut someone. It did cut me just then. But it's not like combat.
my riding
Yeah.
sword is just barely sharp enough to give you a paper cut.
Very nice. I think I have a plastic sword somewhere around here.
Yeah, I got something
Well,
in the basement, I think.
When's your birthday, Mark?
Not for a while.
Is
All
that
right,
Nerf-
well, you
does
let
the
me
Nerf
know, and I'll
sword
keep
count?
an eye on it. We'll get you a sword.
Yeah.
All right. Let us do some role play. So the four of you, the morning of, you gather together, and you're kind of walked into the throne room of Tintagel, the castle. It's been converted to be ready for this this particular event. And you see that there are commoners lining the path into the building, and then it starts to move into more like your servants at the far end, and then every noble, probably within like all of Cornwall and a lot outside of Cornwall, are here. Any that were
This
garrisoned
is a
here.
big deal.
Yeah. The fact it's the king's son is one thing.
Yeah.
And then I think all of you are 4,000 or close to 4,000 glory knights, right? So you're not nobodies in this realm anymore.
I think all of us
Yeah.
are over 4,000, and Jarren is at 5.
I'm
Yeah.
at 5,000.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
Jeremiah
so
also be at 5,000.
half of us at 5, half of us at 4.
Well, I think the next rank for me and all of us is at 8,000.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's
Mm.
famous.
All right. So I guess Sardinal would be here too, but we won't put Sardinal on the screen for this. He just announces the trial is about to be underway, and at this point, Lady Igraine, Uther, and the Archbishop enter.
Where's their freaky little daughter? Where's their freaky little daughter that wants to kill
Right.
me?
She is not
I don't
here
feel
for
safe
this.
until I know where she
Yeah.
is.
She's
Oh
not
God.
She'll be there for the execution, though.
here.
No,
She's
will.
like standing behind you with a knife.
oh,
Igraine
don't give
is
it to
wearing
Jarren.
all black, and I think it doesn't take anyone much to tell that Igraine is very clearly in honest mourning. All of you saw the way she was grieving her husband's loss, but I think the sense of losing her child here is kind of just tearing at her. Like it's very different than even losing her husband that she was in love with. It's a different level, as it were.
It's a different type, which means it stacks by Pendragon rules.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You also see Sir Brastius, and of course there's this guy here, and there are a few others present who I kept off for now, but you know a couple of them by name. So Lad is present, as is Roger, Bishop Roger, and this
The
third guy.
Waterman.
Indeed.
Oh,
So
also, what about
humble.
the king's constable?
Yes.
So what's his name?
He is absent.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Okay.
He gave me a lot of money. Fuck that guy. Did that money mean nothing to him?
Yeah, Sir Argon is absent, and you'd note that because he was one of the faces you guys recognized in the retinue you ran into, right? Him and
Yeah.
Goratrix.
Yeah.
And
And he was one of the people who accused us, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the rumor that Perin got, I think.
Yeah.
Very humble of Uther to sit on the floor beneath his throne, too. I think that's actually quite nice of him.
Right?
The first step.
It's just sitting on the steps. All right, let's get this over.
They're all
Let's do
praying.
this.
Yeah, it's a little. They're gonna get you guys all to sit crisscross, and we're gonna do this in a little peaceful powwow.
Little circle. They've
I
got
gotta-
they've got a stick that we have to hold if we want to speak.
They're selling clothes out of a van over there, and then there's some music, live music, not far from here. A lot of stinky smoke around too. But in a serious note, the ceremony kind of kicks underway. All right, so hold on one second. I just want to get myself properly set for this so I can do more of this in character. And we'll try to do this scene. You know, I've been enjoying the out of character jokes, but let's roll through this one because we're gonna run out of time, I think, otherwise. But you can tell that the procession is very formal and very legal. And as the court opens, Uther, once standing firm, looks over and says, "Sir Brastius, you are the only knight that remains in this castle that lays a charge against these 4 knights. So please state your charge." Brastius nods and he walks forward. He stops at the center. "I give an account, and I'm not alone in this. Sir Argan, though he cannot be present, currently in pursuit of what we believe may be the path that Merlin is wandering. These 4 knights were found when we were sent out. We were in hot pursuit. We thought we might find Merlin in an opening in the forest, but instead we happened upon these 4 knights in garrison. There was no sign of Merlin by sight, but it is the account that was given to us that makes me question these 4. For it was said that they saw Uther Pendragon, and it was he who had them prepared. And Uther looks, he doesn't look like he's shocked by this. He's heard this story already. And then he looks to the 4 of you, and Bishop Roger's kind of folded in with a lot of you. And he looks to Bishop Roger and to the 4 of you and says, "Is the truth of what Brastius speaks thus far acceptable?"
Edrich will nod.
Perin will nod.
Florence nods.
Jarren nods.
Bishop Roger turns then and says, "Yes, that is the truth of it." Now, the next thing might be a little
You scare me, Bob.
Yeah.
Don't.
a little interesting. But before we do that, I think what I'm gonna do, because you guys are predominantly telling the truth, but there's that little sliver of the Uther Pendragon thing in there. So I think all of you need to do 2 things. You need to test truth and deceitful, the victor gets a tick. If they both fail, deceitful gets a tick.
I have a
Alright.
question to you, Bob. Would it benefit us if one wins over the other?
How so? No. This is
For
kind
example, okay,
this is
gotcha.
more a consequence of what just happened and your ability to sort of
Right.
grow
Reconcile
with
with it.
Yeah. So this isn't a future action thing. It
I
could lead
need
to
deceitful to win. Okay. Come on, honest.
Failure on both, and deceitful is already ticked, baby.
You were useful while you could.
Okay.
You were useful a while ago, honest, but I no longer need you. That's a higher success on deceitful. I'm ticking it.
So I got the
Fail on both.
same.
Yeah, Jarren's is a tie, so we'll resolve that one. I think Jarren, the time, I'm gonna give you nothing. Yeah, 7 and 7, so you get no tick on honest or deceitful. You stay.
Bro, Jared literally just works here.
Yeah.
He just showed up for work and stuff happens.
For everyone that did fail, you gain a tick of deceitful, and that's to represent sort of the feeling you have that comes with that in front of this whole crowd of your peers and allies, having to sort of reconcile with the lie, the little snippet of lie that you need, that you're pretty sure is
Edrich has
justified.
felt exactly that way,
Yeah.
multiplied by 10,
Mhm.
ever since the whole Merlin thing happened. That's when he got his tick.
So here's the next thing I'm going to get you to do. I need all of you to test honor, your passion. Should you fail, you lose one.
Uh-oh.
Success.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah, gang.
Thank God.
Okay.
I already lost a point of honor. I'm not losing another one.
I'm not doing it, damn it. So
I lost 10 points of a passion. I need all I can get.
So at that point, after Bishop Roger has spoken up, I think there's a moment where the one that you haven't really interacted with yet, the Saint, he kind of chimes in and says, "There seems to be another accusation regarding Merlin himself. Are we certain that he even took the babe? My king, I do not wish to speak ill against any of your knights' sight, but has not the Merlin served you and your family for countless years now, as an ally, not a foe?" And Uther looks angry at the Saint and says, "Your thoughts are noted, Iltud."
Oof.
And Igraine sneers at all four of you when all of this is done, clearly almost in madness. She says, "They took my boy. Kill them. Kill them all."
Edrich holds his tongue and does not say the thing that came to mind.
I think Perin whimpers a little bit. Only the four of you could hear it, but
Jarren's expression only hardens as his opinion of these people lower.
Florence doesn't say anything. Clearly, the woman is in grief. She's not in her right mind.
All right. Did any of you have any thoughts or anything you wanted to do or bring about or share for people that where your mindset is, your character's mindset?
Edrich will say one thing. As the maddened Igraine says, "They took my boy, kill them all." Edrich says, "That is not the subject of why we are on trial, if I might be permitted to speak. We were nowhere near where it happened when it happened, and it is a different thing that our guilt might be determined, or indeed, as is the case, our innocence, unless another
Florence,
trial need be made."
Florence takes a big step away from Idris.
Uther looks to Edrich and nods, but he turns like back with his sneer towards Iltud a second and says, since Merlin is since there is testimony that Merlin may be innocent of this, perhaps, Sir Knights, indeed, you could each tell me the truth of this, and perhaps where we might be blind to the outcome. And he'll nod to like Edrich first. Who
Very
spoke
well.
up.
We were patrolling between Terrabil and Tintagel, as was our orders when we were garrisoned here. When we traveled, we came across a sight. We believed it, at the time, to be yourself, Your Majesty. You traveled on, telling us to be wary of pursuers, and so we prepared for a battle. When we looked upon the hill, what we saw, well, Sir Brastius was among them, Sir Goratrix as well, the patrol seeking the Merlin. They asked us questions, we answered to the best of our abilities, and thus here we are. I do not see why we must suffer for the failure of Sir Brastius.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you what drove this out of the following attributes: courtesy, orate, just, or loyalty, Uther.
Loyalty Uther is not one of those things, because he's straight up lying. He's continuing with this because it will keep him safe.
Yeah.
I will say, even though it's it's by far from the best, I would say it is his orate.
Okay.
It is the lowest of all of those things that you mentioned.
Oh no.
Fair enough. So
It is not. Yeah, it is not his justice because he's not telling the truth.
just give
It
me
is
a,
not his
give me a
word.
roll for that. Yeah. Give me a roll for that.
I would like to activate a passion, please.
What is your passion?
My love of my family. Because if this goes down like a lead balloon, my family is coming with me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll allow it.
Yeah, your Saxon wife ain't gonna last long without
Keep
you.
it-
I'm sorry.
Keep in mind that love family is for the entire scene, so you're now impassioned for love family for the entire scene, and that will reflect your
Wonderful.
thoughts.
Now,
That'll
I
reflect
want
your
you,
thoughts,
ladies
so
and
too.
gentlemen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you, ladies and gentlemen, to watch as I fumble. Oh, never mind.
You did
Success
it.
on orate.
You would have passed even without it.
Goddamn
Look at
hero.
that.
Yes, yes. Do I take this?
Yes, you
Considering
do.
how low it was?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
I imagine this as Edrich being putting his passion and kind of replacing his emotions with the people must believe as I am saying. And also, if someone sees behind the truth, he's just going to see anger at Sir Brastius.
Right.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's definitely noted. Because you didn't put a safe tune on that. It was very clear that it was you are pissed at Brastius. It's very, very obvious, even for those that don't know the context about your late sire. With that, they look next to Uther looked next to Perin. And so we'll start this one off a little bit differently. Perin, why don't you tell me before you talk whether courtesy or rate, just or loyalty Uther is guiding your hand here in what you say?
That's an excellent question. Probably
Or-
my justice.
Or whatever else. And if it's whatever else, just let me know what is guiding it.
I would love to do intrigue, but we've already talked about this.
Yeah.
My courtesy is 15. My just is 16. So I would like to roll just. Definitely not loyalty Uther. It's funny. Yeah, I'd like to roll just. And of course, due to Perin's specific experiences, he does not believe that Uther is a just king, and due to that, protecting Arthur / Merlin from Uther is considered justice for him. He also doesn't want Brastius to be implicated as bad boy for this as well, so he's trying to get everybody safe, everybody excused from this.
I will note that Edrich cast shade on Sir Brastius. He didn't say, "Look to him, that is your criminal."
Yep.
Yes.
You cast incompetence, an accusation of incompetence.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to, if I may, roll loyalty sword of victory as a passion.
Sure.
Must be nice.
That is a success. So I will roll my passion with a +5, or my trait with a +5.
Okay.
Perin clears his throat, and he unfurls his cloak a little bit so that it's not super like noticeable, but he's not wearing the wooden hand. It's very clearly like just a missing hand, you know?
Mhm.
And he goes, "My king, I understand the great tragedy that has befallen your family, and should we be exonerated, I will not rest until your son is found. I do not believe Sir Brastius to be making this accusation out of anything more than a love for yourself, for Lady Igraine, and for your child together. But we saw what we saw. We were simply, at the time, we believed we were following your orders. Things happened very quickly. I hope that the child is found, and I hope that justice is done here. But I do not think there are guilty parties in this room. That is all I have to say."
Okay. Uther nods. Good. Now let's hear from Florence. Sir Florence.
This Florence steps forward, a little bit of pageantry in his step. However, he would turn around and look directly towards the king and speak to him as if addressing a person, and of course, his lord. But he would specifically turn around during his speech, making eye contact with everyone in the room to bring them all in, as he is going to be testing his courtesy. His ability to bring down... His aim is to, and he does this throughout his speech, is to let cooler heads prevail. That this is clearly a time of confusion.
Okay.
And, wires are getting crossed, and and that's his kind of thing that he's trying to play out. As well, I'm going to roll his passion for hospitality, because this is part of a thing of being hospitable, of creating a dialogue between everyone that isn't just he's guilty or he's guilty, or something that's not so quick to anger.
Okay.
This is hospitality. Success.
Okay. That's what you needed.
All right, and then
Can
courtesy.
you imagine
+5.
any of us getting madness at this?
Oh, man.
That would be
I-
funny.
I
I did it, my lord!
I specifically did not pick my famous passion for that very reason.
It was I who did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try and catch me now.
So this is success. Yeah.
Leaps out the window.
Mhm.
Okay.
So yeah, Florence's speech is very much. I can only say what I have seen, as I'm sure my brothers in arms will do the same. But this is a time of confusion and anger. You, my lord, and you, dear Lady Igraine, have been wronged mightily. Whether by Merlin or by another's hand, the wrong is still there. Now, it is our knight's responsibility, nay, our... Florence should come up with the word quicker. Not delight. That's definitely sets the wrong tone.
Obligation.
Obligation to ensure that the prince is found and returned to you safely. But we must not be quick to anger. For if we do that, my lord, we are destined to stumble around in the dark without focus. Sir Brastius has said what he has seen, and I have seen no issue with it. But we have seen what we have seen. And if indeed Merlin is behind this, as a sorcerer and demon spawn, then we cannot allow ourselves to fall to his machinations. We must be united, my king. My loyalty is as always to you and to the throne of Logris.
God damn, what a hell of a speech. What a hell of a speech.
Round of applause.
Yeah, it sells well. I think, but people also no, I think the courtesy pass suggests that it's not taken as
Grandstandy or
scripted. Yeah. It's taken with some form of sincerity. And Uther nods. Well, that leaves you, Sir Jarren. Speak.
So, Jarren, I need to roll something first.
Yeah.
They
I
did
wish-
it, me lord.
I wish I was fighting Saxons, and also Sir Brastius, I challenge you to a duel.
That's essentially what I'm rolling for.
You could straight up roll courtesy for your thing.
I mean, courtesy versus something, or reckless. Well,
Reckless
not really.
versus prudent?
Yeah. That I think that would make sense. This is Jarren.
Mm.
Do
Oh
that.
god. Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh.
failure on both ends. What's happening, GM?
Well, I think I would need to know what this test is for.
So-
What does
so
reckless represent?
Jarren isn't a fan that Sir Brastius is the one that is here in court and pressing these charges. He
Yeah.
finds it quite insulting that this outlaw, pardoned knight, is now trying to kill more Knights of Uther. So the recklessness was to make the implication at the end of his talk. Still
Okay.
might do it. I'm still leaning that way.
I think what a failure means is just you're not gung ho on the reckless, because you also see value in like dying in a form of execution for something you didn't do doesn't bring you the glory you're after. It doesn't bring Jarren, to the close he would want. Like, that isn't dying on the battlefield against Saxons or an enemy or in a duel. It's it'd be a wasted death for him. Does that make
Right.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Do I need to pull off of a certain trait or anything, or should I can just go into it?
I think try to pair it with a trait. It can be anything beyond, like, those ones I listed are the primary ones, but it could be something else potentially, right? If it makes sense.
Falconry.
right?
Oh, sword.
I'm gonna tell my
Sword.
story through
Sword.
interpretive dance. Ready?
Swimming.
You fool! We've all got swords.
um, let's do.
It'd be great if Jarren gave it told the whole story, but through like an analogy of a sword.
You see, a blade can be sharp, much like the wit
Uh,
of a certain wizard.
This comes off sounding like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Be like water, my friend.
I think Sir Jarren's going to go with this more directed about his pride and honor.
Okay.
He like he usually does. He sticks out his chest a bit as he looks up towards the king, and he says, "I am a simple man. I'm a knight, and I fight the enemies of my lord. Recently, this has been the Saxons to the east. But now I am here, after doing my duties of guarding the roads, keep the peace. I see my lord coming down this road. He gives us an order. I am a simple man. I followed the orders of my king. And now I'm here. Being accused of something so heinous. Not sure what I did wrong by following my orders from my very king, but it is insulting. My lord, you know who I am. You know how long I have served you. Faithfully and well. I still do. I am a simple man, and I am a knight."
Okay. Give me a proud test, I think. That's what you're going after, right? That one?
Yeah.
Okay. Failure is not a fumble. I think there's just a hesitancy, maybe in the way you deliver the part about the, giving the order by your lord. That part, something about it just doesn't quite sell as well as the rest of it. And so, like, if there was the one part that would leave someone with a bit of suspicion, it's just that. But it doesn't. No one collapses in on you for that. They just, Uther is the one in charge right now. He's the one speaking. So,
Yeah.
he's, like, when all of you finish, just as the king's about to speak, Elid steps forward and says, "My king, if I might share a few words about these knights as well." Uther replies with a grunt. "That would depend, Sir Elid. Are you here informally to assist these knights, or are you here on behalf of the Earl?" And Sir Elid nods. "My king, I am here on behalf of Earl Rhodri." I want you all to do a courtesy roll.
Oh, buddy.
Here we go.
Don't forget, you're still
Yeah,
in
I'm not
battle.
surprised it was us
You got
two.
still a passion.
I added my passion. My courtesy is low.
Oh, buddy.
jeez, really?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. All right.
Of
So
all
for
the Mark.
you have Edrich, the person who goes, "I think you should die," person who has wronged me even slightly, is Mr. Courteous. No.
So
That's a failure.
with that, Elid speaks up and I'll get to what the role was about in a second. He says, my king, as you know, these are the Knights of the Sword, the ones that aided in the retrieval of it, that helped you bring together Logris. They are some of the best duelists, some of the best knights we have. They have been involved directly with the capture of King Octa and the felling of Duke Gorlois. Sure, they have had their missteps, and he looks at Edrich for a moment. And some have lost more than any knight should lose fighting for you. And looks at Perin a moment. But they fight for you, for one land and one king. They are not to blame for this. And I hope that you see that. If you'll pardon an old man, I will step back before I say anything that might land me in trouble, he says. And then he will give a nod and step back. And those who pass courtesy, those who pass the courtesy, that's pretty dangerous for him to do. And it's also like, it's like the fact that if Roderick gave him orders that it would allow him to do that, Roderick wouldn't have to. He could go, oh, those guys are in trouble. I'll just distance myself from them and wait for the outcome to see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that, if any of you were looking for like the pride in Lord, but why don't we give you all a test on loyalty Lord? Maybe that will change something there.
Yeah, let's do that.
I think it will for me.
The Lord.
Success. Edric's, I think with that slightly failed courtesy, Edric's just going, misstep. Misstep.
Jarren's he's having some kind of way at this.
Yeah, I guess I gotta add Elad to the list.
Yep. Edric is not going to duel Elad because he's old.
Florence is super proud that Elad has stepped in on behalf of our Earl.
With that success on Loyalty Lord, Edric would have succeeded. And he's definitely proud in, both his Lord and Sir Elad. If only he didn't mention that one specific thing. He didn't have to say they had their missteps, but he did.
All right. As this kind of comes to a close, the other figure steps forward, the one that hasn't talked much. And Father Dewey steps forward. King Uther looks at him and says, I don't know you, yet you've come here and managed to pass through into the courtroom. So I imagine you must have some formality with these knights. And Father Dewey
Edric is instantly on high alert.
Yeah. Father Dewey says, I do, my king. And they say, and Uther's like, well then very well, name it. And Dewey says, I represent the Baroness Pomponia and her interests on her husband. With that, Uther looks at him a moment and says, very well. What brings you forward? And he says, well, I couldn't help but hear the conversation and the stories told. If I'm correct in hearing the rumors and what was stated today, there was mention that the knights saw a King Uther in the woods. Now, you, my king, were not part of this attempt directly, that is, to retrieve your son. what is the likelihood that 4 knights would see the same vision? And like, some of the people are like whispering amongst each other. And he says, I know that Saint Iltud spoke positively of Merlin, but I would like to suggest a counterpoint. Let's say, for example, they did see this King Uther. Let's say, for example, Merlin perhaps wasn't innocent, as mentioned. Would he therein have the power to show himself, or show perhaps an illusion to these knights of something that was not present? Intrigue tests, y'all.
I already think I know what this is. Yep.
Oh, bad roll from me. Still a success.
Bad roll from me too, but you know, Thomas and I aren't failing these checks.
Oh,
You-
poor Jarren.
Those
Love you,
who pa-
Jared.
those who passed would all see Igraine go a shade paler in look, as it's mentioned.
Indeed.
Specifically, the making yourself
Oh.
appears as another.
This is what I've been waiting for, both in character and out of it.
Hot damn, Pomponia. I'm so glad that she beat us to the punch, because would have been way more
Y'all.
suspicious if I brought it up.
Also,
Oh,
he probably would
I
be
gave
way
her that
against us.
information.
Yeah,
I think I was the one who told her about that. Hell yeah!
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah. Fun. That's fun.
With this, Dewey says, I think these knights, as reputation is spoken of already, are innocent. They're not innocent because they weren't there, were there. They were innocent because they were ensorcelled by the pagan's magic. That is what I suggest. And then he says, forgive me, my king. I will speak no further. At this point, Uther looks somewhere between bored and frustrated at this point with the whole charade and this thing. And he says, I know these men. They've helped me in Britain. He looks to his side. Well, Archbishop, you've traveled far and wide. What say you to all this? The Archbishop, who has not kind of spoken really yet, older man, just kind of moves forward a little bit. Thank you, my king. What we speak of is difficult. But there is one truth that I know. No Christian, not British or Roman or Aryan, honors the son of the devil. Uther,
Can you elaborate on that?
folklore. Or spiritual,
I already know what this
or fairy lore if you want, I don't care.
Oh
Or religion.
no, I've heard that before.
Yeah,
They call Merlin the son of the devil. That's right.
They do. You're still welcome to test
Yeah.
something if you want.
I
Fairy
believe
lore. Knew he's a fae.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard it somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
it
heard it.
doesn't mean that you haven't heard it. It just means you don't, you've just heard it. You don't know its origin or anything.
You don't get the origin. Yeah.
Yeah. Uther just stands up with that and he says, he puts a hand on Elaine's shoulder for a moment, and she just kind of doesn't react. She sits there in a slump. And Uther says, "Then let justice reign. Here is the word of the King of Logres. These men are innocent of treason. They and all with like charges are dismissed. You all are ordered to speak to the archbishop, to remove the pagan's taint from you." And I'm grimacing because I know Rebecca's in the chat. That's not going to go well. He looks frustrated too. It's hard to read exactly what Merlin's thinking. And he says, Furthermore, the court deems that Merlin the Enchanter is responsible for this. He is hereby condemned to death by this court as an exile and a traitor to the crown, who has willingly and knowingly harmed this throne. Let this news be sent forth to all lords and thrones. Any ally of Merlin is an enemy of Logres.
Whatevs.
Yeah. With that, the Archbishop says, "God bless us all. This court is adjourned."
Amen.
Sir Sadnol says, "Let these knights hence be known as the knights who have condemned Merlin." And you all get you all get 50 glory for that.
Hey,
I'm good with that.
Adding glory tracker. I will note this. Of all of our player characters, I think Goratrix is upset about this.
Yeah. And Goratrix is also absent. He was not quick to name that he saw these knights, probably because Edrich was one of them.
Yeah, straight up.
He might have. Instead, he kept himself busy and led one of the search parties for Merlin. So.
Yeah, let's keep looking for the guy.
Yeah.
What? My presence is requested. I'm very sorry. You're talking too quietly.
All right. I think like the one point I probably want to get across to is like, I think there was a chance. I saw this going in ways where like we might lose a couple PCs here. Let's see what happens. So, especially like, you get a madness roll at the wrong time, or you say like the wrong thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I didn't want to risk that shit. I was like, I got a 16 passion and a 15 passion. Let's go with the 15. That I don't need that bonus that bad.
Yeah.
I actually have a question. What was the outcome to Jarren's fumble on the courtesy whenever Sir Alad started speaking?
Oh. So the resolution granted you an understanding that the Earl was putting his neck out. So it must be the opposite status somehow. Like, so
maybe Sir Elad went there by himself, like representing himself, and Sir Roderick is the one who hung us out to dry. Maybe.
Me, I don't know. How do you think? How would Jarren take that in a bad way somehow?
Yeah, the way that I kind of interpreted it was Sir Jarren seeing that it was insulting to be on trial in the first place, because his name and his honor should have been enough to been innocently or to be instantly innocent. That another had to step up and start speaking on our behalf was just showing doubt that we wouldn't win. So they had to like put their 2 cents in. So Jarren does not appreciate being doubted in such a way.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I like that. So it's like the pride playing out even more a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, this was a slam dunk, and then well, I mean, why add your two piece in here? I mean, this is already done. We're innocent.
Yeah, right? I like it. Especially with all those failed intrigue and courtesy rolls today. It was like glorious.
Yeah. He gets the complete wrong attitude out of it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Understanding the fact that we're totally guilty, we are super innocent, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Afterwards, Bishop Roger turns to you all and says, with a nod, "Breathe fresh air, my friends. You remain free."
Was there any doubt?
I'd say our prayers came in. Well, somebody heard them, at the very least. Thank you, Bishop Roger. Your service and your generosity, compassion, it won't be forgotten.
I'd like to do, before we close for the night, because I think we're about that time, it'd be cool to do like maybe a scene with the four of you together again, or is tension too high for that? Because it'll probably be a couple of sessions before we see Zack back again. So
I think I know what Florence would do to make this happen. He'd host a party for all of them. It's very much a we got innocent, not guilty kind of party.
I can't decline that. God damn it.
Can't decline that either.
yeah. All right.
She gets them all together for a few drinks.
All right. So
I think with that, we'll probably be... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I imagine it's like a small room with a table and a bunch of drinks and jugs and some food set out. As Florence would just stand with a cup in hand and going, "Gentlemen, today we are free knights once more. To justice. At least ours."
Edrich does not echo that toast.
Oh, yeah. Imagine that.
Neither does Perin.
Jarren does it, but just quickly drinks it and sets it down on the table.
Yeah.
I will say
What's the
two
matter?
things about this
Okay.
matter. The first, this has delayed my wedding significantly. The second, indeed, is that had the entire truth been told from the beginning, the same outcome would have happened with less doubt being cast on us. Instead, now, well, you saw the look in the Lady Igraine's eyes. Downright murderous.
She was grieving, my dear friend. Of course her eyes would look in such a way. I mean, who would not would feel such a way at the loss of a child?
She is now aware of the capacity of one to change their shape. This will do something interesting, perhaps. Likely not disastrous. But it will be bad.
Oh,
I feel like justice has been served in that regard. And that he quietly sips upon his drink. He leans back in a chair.
of course. Lady Igraine's mind's being poisoned by a particular knight in her service. We all know who that knight is.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
What? I feel
I
like
will
we're
admit-
all pointing at a different person.
I will admit, Sir Brastius was not as hostile as I feared. Perhaps he did
As
not
I
spell-
said,
I will admit that you were right in that regard.
I'm not so sure. I wonder if the two of you may have been right about him in the end.
See, why would he even bring this up? He thinks we'd be so dumb if we were part of this plot that we would just stride on in and be executed.
would you not do the same in his position? had you see some suspicious goings on, would you not support, say, old Roderick, if he were in the same position as Uther?
Earl Roderick. Sending Sir Laud to vouch for us when our deeds and actions already have.
He put himself under a considerable amount of risk to do that.
Yes, Sir Jarren, that was a good thing that happened.
It was a very kind gesture of his respect for us, and one that I will not forget.
Sir Jarren scoffs a second. If our own honor and actions and service to the king don't speak tenfold, it's clear that we don't have the respect we deserve.
I agree. Perhaps you're right.
I will ask this. Oh, sorry, you go.
That was it.
I will ask one thing of you, Sir Perin. Why do you now find suspicion within the actions of Sir Brastius?
I think I might have just been overwhelmed with a sense of
You thought you could use
misunderstanding.
him. Now you don't think you can. It's fine.
No. That wasn't it at all. I've just come to understand that the two of you have... I wouldn't risk your health and safety for a man that Lady Violet or myself used to respect. So, after further reflection and understanding, I think you're right. I think it's possible that Sir Brastius is not all that what he seems. I still ask that you wait to make a move on him, but I think... And he looks to Florence and he goes, I think this can only end one of two ways, and it did not result in our deaths.
That there is a bit of recognition in Florence's eyes. However, it immediately shifts as he goes, I don't know. He seems like an honourable sort. I think he would do what any knight would do in any situation such as that. Report what he saw. And he did. Did not accuse us of working with Merlin, nor accuse us of, any true crime. He simply spoke the facts. And for that, I can respect him.
I echo most of your sentiments, Sir Florence. As for you, Sir Perin, I do not know if you are telling the truth. What I do know is this. A person who holds the trust of Sir Brastius can get closer to King Uther.
Indeed.
And I know how your mind works. And I will not forget it.
Why are we talking about such dull subjects? We just survived the Grand Court. The very royal court. Not many
I
knights
wouldn't
can
call
say
Sir
that...
Perin's mind dull. But yes, I take your meaning.
There aren't many knights that could say they've faced down the king's accusation and survived.
Quite so.
Indeed.
Sir Jarren has a small smirk grow as he takes another drink and taps the sword that's definitely on his belt now. He's got his sword back, for sure.
Yeah.
You think they'll give us another title for this one?
Oh, they already named us the denouncers of Merlin the Enchanter. I imagine we'll spend most of the summer trying to hunt him down.
There's like a hint of panic in Jarren's eyes. The rest of the summer, hunting down a wizard who can change form. When we have Saxons invading and pillaging and sacrificing entire port towns to pagan gods.
I have
Who
good
knows?
news and bad news. It is likely that we will not be on that patrol, so to speak. It is more likely we will go to war with Malafut than the Saxons.
I don't think you're wrong in that assessment.
And why?
I don't know.
Jarren's brain
Edrich will
explodes.
say it
I
like
love
he's
it.
likely defeated.
I think with that, Florence would just look into his cup and go, one land, one king.
One
Simple
land,
as that,
one
my
king.
friends.
Hmm.
But who knows? Maybe we'll find Merlin hanging out in a Saxon band and be able to kill two birds with one stone.
Oh, God. Don't make me imagine good things.
We'll only hope that the Saxons are there too. Jarren downs another cup and he pours another.
I think.
And I will say this in the interest of complete forthrightness. I do not believe that Merlin means the child harm. But I also know that I have lied in the eyes of God and his bishops, in the king and his court. And, of course, the Lady Igraine, whose husband I did murder, now believes we are somewhat culpable kidnapping of her child. Our lives have not been made easier by our victory today. It will weigh heavy on us. Even if not in our minds, then God will see fit to test us more. I'm going to be swallowed by a whale, I just know it.
Don't worry, Edrich. At the very least, I won't ever put you in that position again. Your loyalties will never have to be strained as such. Not by me, at least. And I think
No,
as Perin,
You are right.
I think Perin, moves to try to grab the cup of wine, but he fumbles it slightly and accidentally knocks it onto the floor, and it spills all over the floor, and he just looks at it for a second. Huh. And he reaches down and picks up the cup and goes, Florence, would you pour me another, please?
Of course.
All right.
Oh god, I love this. It's brilliant.
Okay. Why don't we close out there? You're going to be released from garrison duty within like a week of this, and able to return home to Salisbury for the first time, which means that
He survived!
yeah, which means for Thomas, you get to plan a wedding. So I think our next episode is the wedding of Sir Edrich.
Delightful.
I wonder why
I
Sir
won't-
Jarren won't be present, or will he?
I mean, if
He'll
you
be
need
present
wedding
in spirit.
crashers,
No, you're
Yes.
you're obviously
Oh, yeah, you go.
invited, Zach, but we didn't. I didn't invite you in advance, so you can't be there. Don't worry about it.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
Worst case
Gortrix and
scenario, worst case scenario, we'll have someone be racist to his wife in your honor.
there we go. There we go. Get
Honorary
representative.
racist.
The halls of Winterbourne Stoke will run red.
just gonna send a messenger just to
Yeah.
point
Hate
and yell
Saxon.
Saxon.
Yeah.
Saxon.
If you want to be there for part of it too, we did do one episode, I think, with I want to say it was AP when we in Gathering of Branches where we jumped him in halfway through. So it's possible we could bring you for the early part and then let you go to bed after the wedding part, because we'll probably do wedding and then move into Winterface stuff after, or like closing of the year stuff after. So,
Indeed.
because we've been in
And I want
492
to
for
note, yes,
Or we will
we're
have been
going to
by then.
move forward in time.
Yeah.
I want to note one thing. The invitations were extended long ago, and Edrich has not retracted it.
Yeah. Understood.
Okay,
All right, guys. Well,
Sorry,
well
go.
done. Well done with the drama. It's interesting to see this group dividing apart, and it kind of comes from not only in character decisions but a role too, like the fumble or the torn loyalties that Edrich had. Really,
Loyalty.
yeah,
Yeah.
Indeed.
I guess couldn't fumble, so it was a tearing of loyalties. Because you could have rolled the other way, and
Don't
then it would have
worry.
been very different. Like,
Oh,
It
yeah.
would have been so
worry.
different. Can you
Yeah.
imagine? Edric would be so much happier.
yeah.
Don't worry, Idric. Don't worry. I'm gonna get you your vengeance. I'm gonna get you and Jarren your vengeance.
Vengeance, sword, sword now.
There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about.
I worry
Fun
about
times.
everything, and I'm worrying about more things every time you speak, Sir Perin. We've got Team Assassinate Uther, and we've got Team I Know How I'd Assassinate Uther, so we're not going to let it happen.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
We're gonna do the wedding feast next episode, and then we're gonna kind of do we'll do the winter phase off screen like we have been, because I think it's been working. But we're gonna do a couple of things where we're gonna I want you guys to think on one scene that you might want in Salisbury and one scene that you might partake as proactivity, because I don't want to give you guys a sense that we're blowing through the years without you having a chance to further your own agendas and goals. Mark, you also have Axbridge, so that's another point of consideration.
That's true. I've got something for Axbridge, but I also got something in Silchester. But I'm sure we'll have the point to discuss that.
Oh yeah. You mean the Silchester thing that your wife has?
My cousin's in Silchester.
Oh yeah, for sure. Cool. All right. Why don't we close her out there? I don't have a lot in the way of an outro. We're gonna do some more open Pendragon. One of them is the hunting of Merlin, so we'll just see a little bit more of that. And we also have some Merlin shenanigans happening in Gathering of Branches. Last episode and this episode.
Indeed.
So feel free to check over there if you want to see a bit of that. Other than that, I have my D&D stuff on the weekend and it's St. Patrick's Day, so I hope to have a merry Friday and be really, really hungover on Saturday probably. But I'll be back in the swing of things by Sunday. So I'm off for the weekend.
Hooray!
Thomas, you're up.
Alrighty, I am Thomas. I have been Sir Edric of Winterbourne, Stoke. Sir Edric is allergic to being happy, and I think it shows. But yes, I just wanted to say it was an absolute delight. I love the new dynamics, even as much as it tears my heart out. And I want to thank everyone for playing with me and watching along. It's my pleasure to tell this story.
Mark, you're up.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I was just checking out our handy dandy Discord. But by the way, did you know we have a Discord? Come check us out. We had all kinds of fun shit on there, like memes and shit posting and pictures of cats and dogs, and it's a real fun time. There's also many updates to new projects we are releasing at different times. And yeah, come join us there. I'm sure the link will be posted by someone in the chat if you're watching live. As well, there may or may not be a link under the video on YouTube. We'll see where that goes with that. Otherwise, yeah, I have been Mark, playing Sir Florence of Idmiston. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm also online known as the Cat's Meow. I'm running a different project with a Masks game powered by the Apocalypse. And the newest episode of that will be uploaded very soon. I'm just going to finish a few things before I can do that and figure out how my schedule is going to work further on. But other than that, I've been Florence, trying not to let his friends kill each other. Or themselves. That's me.
Awesome. Liam.
Hi everybody, I'm Liam. I have been playing Sir Perin of Durnford. Don't know how many sessions Perin's gonna still be alive, but I'm hoping for many, many years. This has been such a wonderful time. What a tense time. Thomas, thank you for letting me be mean to you and vice versa.
It's wonderful.
It's always a pleasure to have Zack here and with us, and every time that he's here, I cry a little bit in joy. Looking forward to your wedding, Thomas. Goodbye.
Awesome. And I just realized, for anyone that's been watching the stream, I forgot to change the year, so it's been 4092 this whole episode, and actually the last episode too. So, oops. With that, why don't we go over to Zack? Zack, once again, thanks for guesting here. It's always great to have you. Anything you want to plug?
No. Other than this wonderful game we've been playing, it's always interesting to come into these heavy intrigue and politicking and just pure role play episodes. And seeing the dynamics between different characters, and then playing a character who's so straight-laced and like he's got his thing, and he views the world in a certain angle, and it's like his only angle, and it's fun to filter it through there and try to see how he adapts to this world he's not familiar with. So it's always a fun time playing with you guys.
Sean.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always great having you. And yeah, it is funny. I think it's been a minute since we've had Jarren on the battlefield in specifically in Uther. Like in this.
Yeah.
We've had you on for Open Pendragon, but not much here. So we're gonna have to change that at some point.
Well, I don't mind it at all. I mean, no matter what we do, it's fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks again, guys. Let's wrap it up in, oddly enough, like better time than normal. So thanks for coming. See you next time.
Farewell.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, and like, subscribe, and stuff. All those things, if you can, please. We love you.
Like, subscribe,
Come
and
around,
things.
join Open Pendragon, be part of the cool squad or something. Yeah, I'm out.
Stay treasonous.
Join the land.
Stay treasonous, friends.
No,
Stay treasonous.
don't stay
Stay loyal.
treasonous.
Sword.
The opposite.
Bye.